Hi.
Yeah.
Yay. Well, hello. This is so fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm live at the Adoptive Family Association of BC office in Burnaby.
With us for a spontaneous convo about adoption with adopted life superstar Angela Tucker and myself, Harriet Fancott,
Adoptive mother,
of one
editor,
9-year-old,
Adoptive magazine for
7 years.
years.
Way back in the day.
Yes.
So since we're live, if you're watching right now or if you watch later, you can always just comment and we will take your question and try to answer it the best we can. And for anybody that doesn't know who I am a transracially adopted adult, and I work in post-adoption services in Washington State, so down in Seattle. But I feel like we should start off by talking about something you were just mentioning, that we're coming up on 10 years of you being in an open adoption with your son's birth family, and you're thinking about writing about it or sharing it somehow, or what are you thinking?
So I thought I should write about 10 years as an open adoptive family and our relationship with our son, who's could be 10 in the middle of the year.
And for what purpose would you be writing, and where? And
Well, I would probably write and focus on adoption, or I could write a blog post. But I think what I want to do differently is I want to involve his birth mom, his birth dad, and his own opinion and my experience. So it's not just the adoptive parent giving their story, which I have done many times.
Many people have done many times.
Yeah, I mean, it always changes as an adoptive parent. I can say that my story shifts and changes, and the way I feel about things changes over time.
So the people who've historically held the power in determining what adoption narratives are have been adoptive parents.
Yes.
So I love that you want to bring in more voices. Have you done any work around like ethical story sharing or understanding how to elicit quotes and information from birth parents?
No, not at all.
Can you talk about that, Angela?
I mean, obviously they have to get permission. I can't just. One of the reasons I stopped writing is I was writing about people who didn't realize I was writing about them, and I was only giving my viewpoint on how I thought birth parents felt, how I thought my son felt.
Yeah.
And I just suddenly thought, this is just wrong. I can't do this anymore. I need them to tell me and to be open about what we're doing.
Or in like a court of law, they would say speculation.
Yeah, and it is speculation. And also, it's supposed to be an open adoption. It means that people should be open about how they feel and what they're saying about each other.
I don't think so. I don't think open adoption means that they need to be open with the world.
No, yeah, I know.
But it means that you're developing a relationship with each other, but that takes a long time to build. I think when we talk about ethical story sharing, it's so important for the people who are sharing their story to know why they're sharing to whom, and to not have that be the first time they've shared. I do that with when I have adult adoptees on panels for workshops that I'm giving. I do a lot of pre-work with the adult adoptees. So the first time they're sharing their story in front of like a big group of adoptive parents, that's not the first time.
Right.
Otherwise it is triggering, and then it can devolve into something that it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah.
You know, it's like there needs to be some practice beforehand.
Right.
But through written word, it's different.
At the same time, I don't want them to write something to make us all feel good, and it's all going to be beautiful and shiny and lovely.
Yes, that comes in the practice.
Right. Yeah.
There's so much pressure to say the right thing, especially from a birth parent to
Absolutely.
the person who's parenting their child. Like, how am I going to tell that person how I truly feel?
And I've worked hard with Theo, my son, to make sure that he actually is telling me the truth, because I read a lot of feedback from adoptees saying that they would never tell the truth to their parents. Their adoptive parents, they would never tell them the full truth because they felt that really they didn't want to hurt their feelings. It wasn't even
it's not that it's a lie or an untruth, but I think there's such a fear of being abandoned again or triggering our parents, the people we love,
want to,
when we say, I miss my birth parents, or I'm curious about them, like, how is that gonna make our parents feel? And that is so scary.
well, one night I actually got Theo to admit that he would like to live with his birth parents. He would like them to get together, they're not together, and he would like to live with them. But then he was like, and with you too. So like, I knew that he didn't want, and I thought,
It's complicated.
but I'm so glad he said that, because I think it was really hard for him to say.
I think it's extremely hard,
Yeah.
and I love that your relationship is to the point where he can. I wonder about you sharing that detail just now.
Yeah, maybe not.
Just curious about him, like, you know, when he is Facebook Live, it's going to be on the internet
You can
for
see it.
ever. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you think he'll feel
Oh,
with the
he-
world knowing?
no, I shouldn't have said it, because actually he doesn't like me telling stories about him at all, even funny ones.
It's a funny dichotomy, I think, for parents.
Yeah.
But most specifically for adoptive parents, of like, where's that line between?
Mhm.
For you, you're sharing this story as like, I'm so glad that my son shared this truth with me. But how do you share it in a way without sharing like his facts, his truth?
Yeah.
We want to give him the control
Yeah, but still have it meaningful for people
for others.
to relate to, not be too vague, I think.
Right. That
But I should get permission now. I shouldn't even be this age. Yeah.
I do have a question about that though. Can you get permission from a child? Really?
Probably
Like, what
not.
I would like to know if you both have thoughts on that.
I would say, like, are we talking about technically get permission?
No,
Or getting
morally.
permission, like, you know, when your son is 5, 10, 12, 15, like, we're still, even an adult, we're still trying to please our adoptive parents. And so if you ask permission to do something, like, my inkling is going to be more along the lines of, I want to do what makes you happy with me, versus, I don't know if I want the whole world knowing about what I think about my birth parents. I don't know if I want this to go online because my birth parents' sister's brother now might hear this, and are they now worried that I'm not being treated well? You know, like, it's complicated. Something I love that I've been doing is workshops directly with tween and teen adoptees. And I've heard so many stories from these youth about just this thing. And it's so much easier for these teens and tweens to talk to me, another transracially adopted person who's not in their world and in their life.
Yeah.
And so these workshops are so powerful.
Yeah. And I mean, one of the reasons we do we have this support group, ACOMA, and it's for families.
What does it stand for?
It's an African word that means, I think it means love or heart, something like that. And it was
You inherited it, right?
I should
25
know
years
what it
ago?
means.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's a 20-year-old name, and it was named by one of the founders, who is a person of color, Black man, and anyway. So we've kept the name. I like the idea behind it. But it's for families with children, we say, of African heritage. So they don't have to be from Africa. They can be from the States, from Canada, from the Caribbean, wherever. But the idea is that they will grow up together, and when they really want to talk about this stuff, they can talk to each other.
That's wonderful. I am working with so many adult adoptees who say, I'm running this mentorship program in Seattle, and so many of the adult adoptee mentors come into the room and they're like, this is the first time that I've been in a room with all adopted people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we gotta stop that cycle. So I'm so happy when I hear that little kiddos are with other adopted people as they grew up.
Yeah.
They're just there.
Yeah, I just think, I also understand the problem with just having everyone look similar and be adopted, that could be, kids might think, oh, the only kids that are adopted are
People of African descent.
yeah, or in some cases different ethnicities, right? When you put them
when we think about transracial adoption,
especially
it's
here,
often synonymous with kids of color and white parents.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
So
almost always.
It is a problem, but we also should address like, why does it look like this?
oh yeah,
That there is a reason why it is this way.
yeah. But yeah, but I do think those friendships when you're older, you're going to want to talk to someone who's also adopted.
The
Really
power of
understand.
having a shared experience
Yeah.
is undeniable.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the mentorship group that you run and how it works?
Yes, the STAR Adoptee Mentorship Group is for all adopted youth ages 10 and up. And really the focus is on sharing experiences, building trust together so that when kids want to have conversations with other adopted people, they can. And they've built a trust and a friendship. So the focus is not on adoption outright because it permeates all of our conversations anyways.
Yeah.
And just being in the presence of
That-
20
exactly,
and 30
yeah.
other adopted people
Mm.
is powerful enough.
And I can say, like,
Cool.
with Homa, it's not people talking about it. The parents are all talking about adoption, but the kids are playing
Kids are-
basketball or dancing or playing foosball or
Mhm.
ping pong or pool or whatever,
Mhm.
right? They
Mhm.
just see each other.
To be
hang
together,
out.
yes, and to know that you have that option to speak with somebody that you
Yeah.
might connect with whenever you need it.
And when you get as they get older, right, then
Yeah, and then to have adult adoptees as that mentor role who
That's
are
amazing.
comfortable chatting about adoption for 1 second and playing basketball in the
Yeah.
next, like that it's fluid, it's not this
Yeah.
big heavy conversation that we're having at
no.
the dinner table, but
Yeah.
it's just interwoven with life.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a beautiful thing. So we really
Wow.
strive for that balance.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so
I've had some
it's worked
really
out really well.
interesting things too, where friends of mine where the kids don't have connection with their biological parents because of being from Africa or wherever they haven't been able to make connections. They have connected with my son and my son's birth dad, and they've gone out and played soccer together, or gone to the pool, or gone to a movie, and so the birth parents are actually reaching out to the other kids as well.
Beautiful.
That's
Yeah,
really
I think about that sort of relationship qualifying when people talk about openness, because there are a lot of reasons why families might not be able to have direct contact with their children's birth family members, like they are in another continent, they are deceased, there is an actual safety issue, not a perceived safety issue, but that doesn't mean that they can't have an open relationship. That openness really comes down to, are we talking about birth parents and your history and your origins in the home with effortlessly, or does it cause a lot of grief and it's difficult to talk about? You can have contact and not really have a true open relationship. There's families who see each other, but it's very tense and it's maybe just, it's prescribed, like there's a legal order that you have to see each other, and I wouldn't consider that true openness, even though there's contact.
No.
So it can kind of go, many ways.
Well, I was worried about when I reached out to my friends to see if they wanted their kids to meet the birth parents, because I thought they might be uncomfortable with it, not their children. It might trigger their children, right? I didn't know what their level of conversation around that was with their own children.
I see.
They were all like, yes. So that's good.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I've loved that part of it. And he has someone else to play with while they're,
Yeah.
That does tie into one of the questions that we had here, which was whether you have any suggestions on how people should prepare for openness or for pursuing reunion, for searching for their birth family.
One thing I talk about often, there's some new research that is starting to come out that says that all adopted people should know their true stories by the age of 12. They should know their full stories by the age of 12. And of course, there's places where it may not be appropriate developmentally, cognitively. There's outliers, certainly. But the emphasis is to say that as the child is growing up, they should be hearing developmentally appropriate things throughout, and not just at one time. And so that then, if they aren't able to know their birth parents until later, it's not a huge shock. And the whole family has had an opportunity to kind of digest and process the truths of the story.
Oh, so a question here from a commenter saying, yes, we currently have no openness with birth family, not by our choice, but we speak often about our children's birth families and also the commenter's husbands because he's an adoptee, and she's wondering, can I overdo it or talk about it too much? It's an interesting question.
Is it Lori Luz?
Yep.
When she wrote a book, she said when there's no openness,
Lori Luz. Yeah,
that you can still maintain openness by this discussion of the existence of a whole other family.
Right.
And
yeah, Lori's book is called The Open-Hearted Way.
I love that.
She's wonderful. I certainly don't think adoption can be talked about too much in the home. It really should be talked about as often as many other topics, like how was your day at school? You know, like there are ways to incorporate small aspects of adoption all the time. And the more normalized it is, the less we'll even have that question of like, am I doing it too much? That I think is an indicator that it's not yet seamlessly woven into the conversation of everyday life.
Yeah. We do that. I mean, they're very easy, obvious things. If you know the biological family, that you can see traits, and I just make a point of commenting.
I think even if you don't know, I loved growing up. I was in a closed adoption and we didn't know my birth family, but it was really helpful to be able to talk with my parents about possible traits. So I loved playing basketball. And smile really huge all the time. I don't know why. And so we would talk about like, maybe Magic Johnson is your birth dad. You know, and he really is not, and we knew that he was not. But it was a way for me to feel connected and to feel like my birth story, my origins, where I came from.
No one's pretending that.
I can still go there. Yeah. Even though we don't have the truth. Yeah. We want to know the truth, and eventually we got there, but
And I guess you could say that you're gonna try. Like that you are on board for searching later on, or maybe things change. If you don't know, I mean.
There's a lot of ways to search now. I think using Ancestry and 23andMe are beautiful ways to not only search, but to learn more about where your family came from. Because so often the answer, we're not looking. We are wanting to find our birth family, but so much of what we're also looking for, we find in the journey. Like to find that our parents support us, our adoptive parents support us. It's like, will they really, or are they going to run away?
Yeah.
We learn some of those things through the search, which we may not have known that's what we were seeking.
Right.
We're at the 17-minute mark now, so we've got a couple minutes here to wrap up. Is there anything that you particularly wanted to speak to, Angela, or that?
Good, really good. I mean, I really hear you about divulging this thing about child permission and adult permission, and like a real conversation needs to start before you even start talking about it, videotaping or anything like that.
Yes.
At the same time, I'm just so eager for people to hear what these people have to say, right?
We can hear from adult adoptees who are sharing their voices in mass, and they're choosing to, people like myself. Yeah. We are sharing for the sake of educating other families. But with our adopted kids, our youth, the pressures are so great for us to appease you. Yeah. To do what we think you want us to do. Yeah. But there are so many other ways that we can amplify the voices of adopted people through adult adoptees who are already speaking, through birth parents who are starting to share their stories, through helping your friends, other adoptive parents, like really listen and believe birth parents when they share their stories. I think that's something that's really common, is like, that's an outlier of a story, or that's so different than mine, but like that's putting a stop to that. That's not respectful. We want to listen openly, trust their voices.
That's fantastic. That's probably a great note to wrap up on. Thank you so much, Angela. And she's not in the picture, but Angela's mom is here with her too. And they
My mom is over
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
they stopped off on their vacation to spend this time with us. We're so grateful for that. Thank you. This has been really great. And if people have more questions, they can leave them in the comments.
Thanks for it.
Okay, I'm gonna click end now.
Goodbye, world.
Bye.
Bye, Mom.